Hey guys, I'm putting together a series of videos that will come out every week for the next few weeks through my blog on the lessons I learned to overcome and adapt myself and my business during this global pandemic, right? So let me just dive right into it. I am a startup business. I launched HerWit officially in July 2019, worked my ass off to build the business brand and my personal brand. And by the end of Feb 2020, early March 2020, I had built HerWit and myself to a pretty recognizable brand, at least in Melbourne. How did I gauge this? I was getting clients at least 3 to 4 a week with projects ranging from a month to up to 6 months per client, and sometimes a little bit more. I was invited to speak on panels, at events, judge some of the biggest conferences in Australia, in the startup world, from Startup Grind to POSFest, be interviewed on various podcasts, be invited to be a board member and a mentor for some of the largest women organizations in Australia, whether in entrepreneurship as well as in corporate, and more. I'm not saying this, please don't get me wrong, to tweet my horn, trust me. So let me give you some context. I moved to Australia only 2.5 years ago at the age of 42 with zero social and professional network. Like many professional migrants, and decided to launch a business. I know, crazy, but hey, I thought, why not? Even though this is my third venture, it is the hardest one I've had to do. When you're starting from -10 and having to build your way through a new country, a new culture, a new life, and new networks, it's so much more challenging. I mean, I was seriously not ready for it. I did not realize how hard it was. And along the way, there have been people who've tried to drag me down. Yeah, even with that small handful of people that I knew. But there have been some amazing people, especially women, who have stepped up and helped me through it and continue to do so till today. So having built HerWit up within a period of less than a year under those circumstances, to me, seems pretty darn good. And if any one of you out there has done the same, you should absolutely give yourself a big freaking hand of applause, all right? Please. So when COVID-19 hit, I panicked. Why? Because 70% of my revenue came from individual as well as corporate workshops, face-to-face mentoring, meeting people. A lot of it was face-to-face, and even some of my speaking gigs. So when we went into lockdown and all of my contracts got canceled and postponed, I was pretty devastated, man. I mean, I actually felt depressed for at least a week or so. I'm not telling you guys for you to feel sorry for me. No, sorry. It's the lesson that I learned from this whole one time in 100-year episode that I wanted to share today. I'm starting this series of videos that goes through each point. And I want to share this because I know a lot of you out there are going through the same thing, especially if you're a startup, solo, or a small business entrepreneur. So today is the first, and to me, I would say the most important point. I started to re-examine my why. Now, this time allowed me to take the time to really look at my business, but most of all at me and why I was doing what I'm doing. We all get entrenched in the daily grind of things and get lost in the doing, right? And we forget that we also need to be observing and thinking of our business, but most of all, of ourselves, our actions. Why are we doing what we are doing? What is our purpose? I bang on about this whenever I can. Not because it's the in thing to say and because Simon Sinek said it, but because I truly believe that it is ultimately what drives anyone. It's worked for me. I'm speaking from my own experiences. And this is not just for entrepreneurs. This is relevant for people in jobs, people who sit in executive boards, carers, mothers, volunteers, if you work for a nonprofit, whatever it is that you do. My why is that I do not want any woman or girl to be left behind. If my mother had a role model in her life that she could have looked up to, she would be alive today. If I had role models during my youth, I would have learned how to love and respect my younger self more and would have made some very different decisions. Role models give people hope, guidance, inspiration to believe that they can reach their dreams, that they don't have to be where they are if they are just because of their limited circumstances. They can soar. And my why is that all women should become role models, not just the small handful famous women that get recycled in the news, across the media, everywhere else over and over again. So I reminded myself of this. I realized the consequences if I do not do what I do. Girls and women around the world will continue to not know the stories, the experiences of the women who came before them. Regular women who look like you and me, right? Who look like them, have gone through the same challenges, the cultural, social, political, social barriers that they are experiencing, wanting to do the things they want to do to fulfill their dreams. I snapped out of that depressive state pretty quickly, let me tell you, because I remember that I was that girl once. I know how it feels, what impact that has had, and have seen it over and over again in my family, in my community, in my society. So I reminded myself of my purpose, my service to humanity, and the consequences if I did not fulfill that. Help women entrepreneurs and professional women to soar in their business and careers and create the lives that they want to be happy and fulfilled. For all of you out there, whether you are an entrepreneur, a professional career woman, a stay-at-home mom, a volunteer, a not-for-profit worker, it does not matter. Take some time to be with yourself. Examine why you do what you do, and if you aren't doing what you want to do, then start thinking about what that is and start working towards fulfilling it. This is a journey and a process. Remember that. Some of us might be super lucky and know it from the start. And for some of us, it takes a bit of time to get there. For me, it took me till my 40s to know what it was that my purpose was. Do not judge yourself. We all have our journeys, but we have to take responsibility for our lives and start doing the work in order to realize our purpose.